1. All right, everybody, welcome to the Igor Voico podcast. We have a guest today from the automotive industry, Vitaliy Kondrya. Is that how you spell your name, or did I get it correct?
How long have we known each other?
I'm 31, and you?
35.
35, so at least 31 years old, right?
At least.
Yeah.
You don't know how to pronounce your cousin's name?
Once in a while, when you're tired and it's 10 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
you get excused for it, right?
Yep.
All right, so I wanted to introduce Vitaliy here. He's been in the automotive industry for the last over a decade, right?
Over a decade, 15 years.
15 years
Going
in
on
the car business.
16.
Have you burned out yet, or are you still
No.
going strong?
No.
Still going
No.
strong?
I
So-
love it.
First question I wanted to kind of get into is what, got you into the car business, what motivated you, and what keeps you motivated to stay in the car business?
Well, what got me into the car business is literally by chance, actually. We bought a minivan, a work utility van, with my dad. And the first week, that van started having issues every single day. We took it there to get it fixed. They kept on fixing it. Check engine light kept on coming back on. Check engine light kept on coming back on. And every day we kept on going back and forth for about a week. And I guess the GM, the owner, I should say, of the auto group, he was kind of paying attention to how I was handling the situation. And he calls me about a week after they fixed the van and all that and says, "Hey, I want to meet with you." I'm like, "Okay, sure." So I went, met with him, and 15 years later, still in it.
So the GM saw, the customer service skills, the people skills that you have, and he's like, "I got to have you," right?
I don't know about that part. I think what he saw is the potential, really, because I knew how to talk and not to talk, and I knew how to word things,
Yeah.
and that helped to get what I wanted to get done for my dad that time with the van.
And a lot of times in the car sales or any sales business, sometimes it's not about what you say, but what you don't say,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
People
A lot
notice
has to
those
do with
things.
it. Yes.
How you're able to hold back, because sometimes we want to say things, and that's when you got to bite your tongue.
The car business will teach you that. I promise you that.
So basically, you went in with your dad, and that turned into a whole 15-year career.
Mm-hmm.
And
Literally.
So basically, when he called you, did you start working for him right away, or is there?
So no, he offered me the job, and it took me about a month, honestly, for me to give him a response, because at that time I was married and I was having a kid on the way, my first one, my little one, right? So, hey, you're going into 100% commission, It's a little bit of a challenge where you're comfortably making decent amount of money. You're gonna grow little by little, right? Versus this is like either you do or you don't. And after a month of thinking about it, pondering about it, praying about it, like I did, I remember, and I just said, you know what, let's go. What do I have to lose? Again.
So about a month in, you went in, and did you start in sales right away, or what was the position that you had?
I started in sales and just went from there. I was at one store for 2 years, 3 years for the first one, I want to say. And the mindset that I had there is I'm going to be a sponge. I want to learn from the people that are good there and to learn the basics.
You want to soak it in, right?
Yeah, I wanted to soak it in. One of the things that my sales manager there told me, Mike Carrera, which he's a good friend of mine, to this day, 15 years later, we have the same birthdays, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, October 23rd, him and I, yeah.
Same year? No?
No, not the same year.
If he took you in young, how old were you when you?
I was 20.
20 years old.
I was 20.
So, a 20-year-old can't really feed that much good knowledge, right?
Well,
to another 20-year-old.
Well, I had the right people around me. The owner of the auto group was there as well too, Joe Smith. So he helped me out a lot. Mike Herrera, Rich at that time as well too, Bersina, I remember him. They really guided me through the step, and they saw the potential as well too. And I personally saw the potential that I had and what the auto industry gives to people if you're literally, a sponge and you want to learn and you want to succeed. And reality is you only need 3 things: honesty, integrity, and being a sponge in this business. I'll add a 4th, and being present, being there every day.
So you mentioned, the 2 words, honesty and integrity,
Mm-hmm.
right? And a lot of the reputation that salespeople have, I've been in the business,
Mm-hmm.
you've been in the business a lot longer, and it's the sleazy car salesman, this and that. And how do you overcome and prove that you're honest and you have integrity, and how do you get people to trust you? And
So one of the good things that I do have, thank God, is a skill that I've learned to get, and it's not even learned, it's something that I've realized, is earning people's trust.
For sure.
And reality is, it's the simple two things: honesty and integrity. Your actions will show what your words speak, and your actions will show as well too. And again, bringing back one of the sales managers that told me about, being a sponge, honesty, integrity. I did ask him, like, hey, how do you stay long in this business and succeed? That's how. And people see people see that, right? And they feel it, they understand it, and they're like, all right, I could trust this guy. So that's how. It's very easy.
And you mentioned that's how you avoid the burnout, right? How
Oh,
do you
yeah.
stay long in the
Oh
business?
yeah. Oh yeah. If you do things the right way, you don't have to worry about how you're gonna sleep at night.
You don't have to watch your back.
You don't have to watch your back for people coming into your office or this or that. If you do things the right way, and one of the reasons, three of the reasons why I'm in the car business is, one, first and foremost, I'm a believer. I
Amen.
love God, I love people, and I love cars. Those three things right there is what keeps me going, why I'm in the car business, and I don't get burned out by it. Yeah, you have your days where you're tired, long nights. I had one last night, actually. Well, I left at 11 o'clock or 11:30 at night, something like that, at p.m. last night. It is what it is.
So this is not your 9 to 5 job, where you just clock in, clock
You
out.
can. No, it can. It can be. You just have to set your boundaries as well too. Just last night, I was the only one there. That's the reason why. So I had to stay there. That's it. Yeah.
Now, if you want to succeed, can you set a boundary and maintain a 9 to 5, or are you locked in? How do you balance it?
So there's no really such thing as a 9 to 5 in the car business. You have your schedule, right?
For sure.
If you want to go there on your days off, go. If not, you can still set your appointments, but you're going to get half deals in the car business as a sales associate. If you want to work your schedule, feel free. Nobody's going to force you to come on your day off, but you're not gonna get full deals if the customer does.
If you're
come
not
in
there
on
to
day.
close
Yeah,
it, then
exactly.
you're not benefiting from the full deal, right?
Yeah,
At that
exactly.
point.
So it's really up to you. You can. Do I advise it? No.
And how long were you in the first location, the first dealership?
I want to say 2 years or 3 years. I don't remember to be exact. Either 2 or 3 years. It was back in California.
Oh,
Buick
what
GMC.
Buick GMC.
Buick GMC. Yeah.
And the other question I have, you mentioned Buick GMC, and I love GMCs, especially the new things that they're coming out with. And I can see myself driving, one of their nice SUVs, one of their Yukons, or their pickup trucks and things like that. And I'm passionate, right, about things that I like, and I can sell things that I like. But what happens if you get into a franchise where you're not passionate about the product? Can you still be there, or do you need that passion to be with that franchise?
So to kind of answer that right there, I was 20 when I started with Buick GMC. They weren't the prettiest cars, especially the Buicks, right? Was I passionate about those cars? Absolutely not.
Not 15 years ago.
No,
right?
not 15 years ago, definitely. Buick now, what it is today, they're actually transforming their brand, which is great. They're trying to get the younger generation, which is great. That's a good thing.
And you can see that in their design language.
You can see that in their design language. I mean, the Buick, I don't know what the name is, whatever, that looks like a little Urus, baby Urus. But no, it doesn't matter what brand you sell. It really does not. It matters on how you present it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you could be selling a pen, you could be selling a laptop. It's all how you present the product. You don't have to be passionate about it. You just have to know you got to pay your bills.
Exactly, you got to pay the bills. So if you're not passionate about that franchise and
passionate
that car,
about paying your bills.
if you have the passion or another motivation, that product doesn't have to be the fire that pushes you, right?
I mean, I can't stand Hondas. No offense, but just
Offense
being
not taken.
I'm just saying I don't like Hondas at all whatsoever. But I work for Honda. That's okay. Do I like the brand? Great. You could fall in love with it. The more you work there, you're like, all right. Well, this is nice. All right. But do you want one? No. Do I like a Buick? No. Do I want certain other vehicles? No. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to go there and sell it,
And the thing is, just because me or you don't like something doesn't mean somebody else doesn't, right? And it doesn't mean it won't fit somebody else's needs or wants.
And that's really, in all honesty, one of the best answers right there. You actually just answered it yourself. Is, hey, it's not about me. It's about the client.
It's about the client's needs and wants.
Exactly. What do they need? What do they have to have? How can I, they come there because they have a problem. What's the problem? They need a car. What car? It doesn't matter. Sometimes people come in for a certain car. They end up totally leaving with something else.
So they come in with a problem, and like you mentioned, they may end up leaving with something else because you guide them through and you give them a solution, right? That fits whether it's their space requirements, their vehicle needs, their finance needs,
kids, you name it, divorce, you name it.
Anything.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a customer who came into any of the franchises that you work for come in, say they want something, but you knew that this wouldn't fit what they needed? And
Yes.
did you let him go? Did you?
No, if he listen, I will explain to them. I'll give you
Yeah.
an example. I've had a customer, the one that just comes off the top of my head right now.
Yeah,
I saw that they live in an area where I know it snows for a fact.
for sure.
And I'm like, guys, you're looking at a front wheel drive. You need an all wheel drive because it snows where you guys are at. And like, no, we'll be perfectly fine, perfectly fine. Are you sure? Because it snows there. They're like,
Yeah.
yes, we'll be fine. I'm like, all right, no problem. Just letting you know if you guys are gonna want to trade this in, you're gonna lose at least $5,000 to $10,000. This was on a Sunday. The very next Sunday after we sold them the car, the very next Sunday, they're there. Vitaliy, we need to trade this car in. I know what you said.
I can't make it up the hill, right?
Yeah, no, sure. They couldn't make it up the driveway,
Up the
not up the
driveway.
hill, up the driveway, and it was not even a slopey like driveway. They couldn't make it up. That's what she said.
So this was a front wheel drive vehicle
Yeah,
or
yeah.
front wheel drive
Terrain. Speaking of GMC terrain,
GMC terrain? Was this here in the South
no,
Carolina or was it
South Lake Tahoe.
South Lake
They
Tahoe?
were in South Lake Tahoe. That's where their house was, and it was in the winter. It snows in the South Lake Tahoe, right?
For sure.
So this was out of in California when I worked for GMC Buick.
And I'm in the trucking industry, so I know 80, and I know going down from Reno or Lake Tahoe down into Sacramento,
Yeah.
and how often they close the roads and how much snow they got,
Yeah.
and then the chain requirements and the snow tire requirements. So at that point, it was, they could have taken your advice, and you would have led them.
But they didn't. They lost like $5,000 to $10,000. I want to say like close to $10,000 if I remember, like $90 something $100. I remember.
Just driving the car off the lot,
Just
basically.
driving the car off
over
the
the weekend.
lot, the down payment, everything that they did, whatever taxes, obviously, 40-ish thousand dollar car, taxes in California, calculate that, the depreciation as well too, all of it. Now it's a used vehicle, so we have to look at it as a trade-in vehicle, as a trade-in value as well too. So they lost money.
And speaking about that, since you started out in sales, and to bring it back to your career path, and since that's what we're talking about today, you did about 2 to 3 years with Buick GMC. And what was your next, progression in the car business? Where did you go
So
next from there?
I went to a different brand first, and I was there for a year in sales at a Toyota store. And then right on my 1-year anniversary, they promoted me to a manager as well too.
This is Toyota?
Yeah, at Toyota back in Sacramento. So they promoted me to a manager there. And what I did is I was a floor manager, closer, in other words, in our terms, in our language, in the car business.
So is
And-
this where you step in for the sales to close the deals?
so
or how?
so I had my own crew. We had 3 crews, and I had my own crew. I believe I had like 7 or 8 guys and girls as well too. I was the youngest closer there that they ever had. I was the youngest manager that they ever had. I was the youngest one, period. And my guys and girls are 30, 40, 50 years old, and they're looking at me. This kid's going to tell me what to do?
So you were, 23 at that time?
Yeah, give or take.
Leading a team of
Exactly.
40 to 50-year-olds
Exactly.
and helping them close.
Yes.
And how did they react? And, because, sometimes there's a pecking order in any business and things like
Yes.
that. And if you have that new guy coming in, it's like, you know what, boy, you're 23. What are you going to teach me?
So my mindset was this, and I remember to this day, because that's one of the things that actually to this day I always take with me, because I noticed that no matter where I go, no matter what position I am, I'm always tend to be the youngest one of them all, right?
Yeah.
And in those positions, I don't know why, but anyways, I remember saying to myself, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna prove you guys wrong. Watch, you guys are gonna make more money with me than you did than you guys did before. I promise you guys that. And yeah, first month was a little bit of a challenge because you got characters, just fighting each other,
It's iron sharpening iron at that point. Because you got
Exactly,
characters in the car business, right?
Oh, that's the least of it. No, but with that said, the first month was tough. I remember, but once they saw, especially after the first month, when they saw their checks, though, we're not getting along. But when they saw their checks, they're like, "Wait a second, he's got something here. Let's go." So we literally just started growing and growing and growing. And again, I was the youngest closer there. We were crushing it. I remember the two other closers were like veterans in the car business. They were good, and I'm like beating them. Our crew was beating them as well. So it's like, how are they doing this? How are they doing this? Just basic, simple, basic stuff. So what do the customers need?
Yeah.
And let's sell them a car. Let's get them what they need.
So if a person comes in, you have what they need, you're able to sell them. It's like, I don't know if you've ever seen that video where someone says, sell me this pen.
I have.
And how does the person sell the pen, right? Does he sell the pen? Or?
No, he doesn't sell the pen. He sells the need, the what do you call it? The need at the moment to be able to use the pen.
From what I remember, he gives him a
From
reason.
what I remember, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, he gives him a reason for
Why
the
he
pen,
needs a pen.
why he needs
Yeah,
the
why he
pen.
needs
And
the
once they
pen.
had the
Exactly.
reason, people would pay anything to.
Exactly. Yeah. You need air? All right, here.
Here's a pen, $50. Yeah, but I can buy it in Walmart for $2, or less for a
Great.
pack.
Go to Walmart. Convenience.
There's a 30 minutes clock. You make it back in time.
No, there's more to it, but yeah.
So basically, you have 40, 50-year-olds. You're 23, and what I noticed is it's within 30 days or in a month or so, it was the results, right? It was their pocketbook.
It was the result. The pocketbook. Money always talks in the car business. Simple as that. It's not what you did for me yesterday. It's what you're going to do today and what you're doing forward. Yeah, money talks in the car business.
Because usually, in a high pressure business like car sales and other business, it's always people come in and the mentality they have is, what can you do for me, right? And you proved that, you showed that, hey, this is what I can offer you.
Especially in the car business, that's for sure. I mean, it's you got, if you're a manager, everybody's after you. Everybody's after your position. It doesn't matter if you're on the desk. It doesn't matter if you're a closer. It doesn't matter if you're finance, a GM, a GSM. Everybody is after your position. Everybody wants, not the people. If not the people in the store, somebody else from a different store is looking at you as well too. So everybody wants what you have in the car business, and there's always somebody that could come take it away as well too. If you're not performing, oh yes.
Yeah, so if you don't have the motivation, you don't have the performance, somebody else will step in.
Oh yeah, easily. Oh yeah, I had to step down before. I was going through something that I had to go through back in, this is actually when I was at Toyota. That's the reason why I left Toyota. I had to step down, and because I realized, I was like, hey, hold on a second. This personal life thing was affecting my salespeople, and I realized that my first week going through that, I was like, I need to step away, because I know for a fact I need time to get out of the car business to focus on other things to be able to get back on track. And I did, and I was gone for about 6 months, and then I got back into it, and that was the best thing I ever did.
So basically, you saw that within that time frame, what you were going through was affecting not only yourself but your team.
Oh yeah. If I'm not in the game, they're not going to be in the game. I have to be a game every single time with them, and I have to be a role model for them. That's what leadership is.
Yeah.
Do as I, don't do as I say. Do as I do. I guess that's the better way to put it. Do
Pretty
as I
much,
do.
right.
I have to show them how to do things, and most of the times they're not excited about coming to work. They're all drowned, all whatever you want to say, tired or this or that. They you got to motivate them. So I'm the motivator. I'm the one that's going to tell you how to be happy, when to be happy. I'm the one that's going to tell you, put your hat forward as well too. Put your chin up. Come on, man, get your head up. I know you had a bad night yesterday, or you had a bad week or a bad month or something like that. I have to find ways to motivate the salespeople to be able to
Stand up, head high.
Stand up, head
go
high.
for
Listen,
it, right?
yeah, bad month, but let's make it a great one this one. Let's make up for both last month and this month.
And how did you motivate your salespeople, like your team? Were they people that stood by the door just waiting? Were they fishing, or did they go out and get leads? They bring people in, or how did you meet your? Because you said you went from 23-year-old floor manager, and you were beating the teams that were older and more experienced than you, and that had to take some experience and some guidance to your team. Like, what guidance did you give them? How did you motivate them? And what's the process that brought those numbers up?
So I had some of a training somewhat, right, with my managers before, right, but I was on a personal level like that, right, with them. And what I did is I took that and I used that with my people as well. Literally, there was no like sales training, like, hey, here's sales training. No, I was like, come here, follow me. I'm going to show you how to talk to these people. I'm going to talk with them. Just listen, pay attention. Don't say nothing. That's it. Lead by example is what I did when it comes to them, when it comes to the sales side of it. But motivational side of it, literally just be their friend. Be their friend. Don't be their manager. Don't be their boss. Don't just, do your job, do your job. That's not how it's done.
Don't be dictating. Don't be a dictator.
Yeah, don't
right?
be a dictator. I mean, to a certain extent, you delegate things, right?
Sure.
But you're not a dictator. You don't just boss them around to do stuff. That's not the right way. You gotta a manager literally finds the potential in somebody and has to show it to them. This is your potential. This is what you could do, and this is what you could become, and this is where you'll be if you do those things.
You see potential, you take it, you fertilize it, you make it grow, right?
You water it any way possible you can, from any way possible, from books to just being there. Sometimes people just need somebody to be there just to listen to them talk, and that changes them as well too.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's not just the car industry, but life itself.
Oh, life itself.
A lot of people they just want to be heard. And sometimes when they talk, it's the best time to zip it, close your lips, and let them talk.
I've been a doctor. I've been an attorney. I've been a psychiatrist. A counselor. I've been a best friend. I've been a boyfriend. I've been a husband,
many
an
hats,
ex-husband. Right? I've worn many hats in this auto industry because you have to find that one thing in people or the consumer that motivates them or makes them say yes or makes them move forward with something, whatever it is that they're doing or they want to do.
So you were a floor manager, and how long did that last? What was the next steps, and where'd you go from there?
I want to say about 3 years as a floor manager, and then I ended up from a Toyota store. I actually ended up going to an independent store, and after that, in the car business, I believe I was about 6 years in the car businesses from the beginning in franchise. After that, up until 2019, I want to say 2018. Well, 2019, I would say, because that's when right before COVID started. Yeah, from 2019, I got back into the franchise world. But before that, from 2016 and 19, I was literally independent store. So managing a couple of stores.
So that's from 19 until what year was that?
No, from 19, I came back into the franchise.
Back into the franchise.
Was it 19? No, 2020, actually. I take it back. 2020, I came back into the franchise. So from 2016 to 2020, I was an independent. 2010 to 2016, franchise. From 16 as well to 20 independent, and then 20 to now, franchise.
Back to franchise.
Yeah, back to franchise. So I learned a lot, actually, those 4 years more than anything than I ever did in franchise, because I learned the ins and outs of the business when it comes to that. That was the managing side of it, the buying side of it, the trading, the banking, the financing. That's where I really learned a lot. Yeah.
So basically, in independent, you become the jack of all trades. You wear all the
literally
hats.
The
you
jack of all
everything.
trades. Literally, hey, let's go buy a car. What do you look for in a car? All right, we found this. Bought the car. How do we fix it? We fixed it. Okay. Let's promote it. How do we promote it? Where do we promote it? How do we sell it? Okay, we sold it. How do we sell product now? How do we finance the car? How do we get the product in there as well too? How do we get funding? How do we get the banks in the first place as well too? I mean, all of that, and then repeat.
So speaking of all this, another question I have is like, how did you learn the technical and regulatory side of the automotive, sales and finance business? Because sales doesn't have much regulatory, things. You just sell. You're not really responsible. Once you get into management, once you get into finance,
actually, no. Sales, finance, management, all of it. There's things you got to be careful with what you say, what you don't say as well too.
So that's just from a regular salesperson on the floor.
Oh yeah. I mean, what if you're promising that a vehicle has certain equipment or certain laws or tax credits or this or that?
At that point, I'm second guessing either your honesty or your product knowledge, because here's what happens in the car business. It's product knowledge, and if you don't have the product knowledge, you're going to make things up, and you're going to get in trouble, right?
Yeah. For me personally, my biggest thing, I always tell people, if you don't know the answer to the question that the customer is asking you or somebody's asking you, I don't know, but I'll find out for you.
Easiest thing is, I don't know.
Let
me
get the answer
to you.
I'd rather find out for you and let you know. No problem. But get back to them. Don't just say it just to say it. Get back to them.
So if you're saying, I don't know, get them the answer, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but you have to find the answer for them, because they're going to remember, oh, he never told me. And next thing you know, the problem exists. That's it.
Well, the bigger problem is not saying I don't know and just pulling answers out of thin air.
That's a bigger problem. You don't. You're just digging yourself a hole.
Because I think we've both seen that in the industry, right? We've seen people just make things up, and then it catches up when they're signing papers.
Listen, it goes back to honesty and integrity, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you don't know, just be honest and find out. That's the integrity part. You're going to find out now and tell them the actual answer, not what they need, but what the actual answer is.
And that's where the rapport building with the customer comes in, right? The trust, the rapport.
That's where the trust comes in. That's where all of that comes in. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And what I found for the years I've been in sales in different industry, a lot of times you're not selling the product, you're selling yourself.
True.
If you haven't sold yourself, the person's going to walk out the door and they're going to pay a higher price, and buy from the competitor, because if they don't trust you, $1,000 they'd rather pay that. And I know that from experience, because myself, if I walk into a place, whether it's lumber or a car or anything else, and if I feel like that salesperson is a sleazeball, like they're in to get me, I don't trust them. I don't trust their
Yeah.
numbers, and I'll go across the
100%.
street and pay a little bit more, and I'll
Yeah.
feel confident.
I mean, there's a certain dealership here locally that I'm not going to say the name to, right? Great brand. I love the brand. I will never go to that dealership. I will never go to that. I'll go look at the car and test drive a car, but I will never give them my service or buy a car from them.
And why is that? Is that
Service.
management, sales, or what?
It's a little bit of a combination of all, in my opinion. And it's not just me saying this. It's not just me. I know a couple people, at least 4 people that I know will say the same thing. They would rather go to out of state or drive an hour and 20 minutes away to a different location instead of use that. Why? Is because of the service. Not service, but I'm talking about the service that they give, the way they give the service, arrogant, prideful, and it's not a friendly place you want to be in. Just being honest. And there's dealerships like that. There really is everywhere.
And why, like that specific dealership? We won't call names out, but is that a management thing or is that the people thing? Like what causes a dealership to get that reputation?
I'm always a firm believer that when it comes to management and how sales associates treat others, always starts from the top. That's just my opinion. 15 years in the business, and I always see that if the top is a certain way, everybody else is going to feed off of that as well too.
So, you ever heard of the term trickle-down economics?
Yes.
Well, it sounds like trickle-down integrity, right?
It is. It really it is. It's sad to say, but it is what it is.
So there's no integrity on top. It's going to trickle down. It's going to affect everybody else from sales, management to.
There's always going to be bad apples no matter where you go and no matter what industry. But certain places, you're just like, I'll just go there to test drive the car and we'll waste your time. I'm just being honest.
You're the closest dealership to my house.
Yeah.
I don't want to drive to
I
the
don't wanna
place I'm
drive
going to
there.
buy 45
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
I'll test drive.
Yeah.
I'll go by there, right?
And then they'll deliver it to me as well.
Exactly. So you mentioned you were about 3 years Buick GMC, then you went about 3 years to Toyota, and then what is it, about 5 years in independent or
About four-ish.
four
Give or take,
years
yeah.
independent? And basically that's where you put all the hats on.
That's where I put all the hats on, yes.
And then was that in management? Was that in sales?
Actually, actually a little bit more than 4 years, because when I moved here to South Carolina, I had 2 years of independence as well too. So about 6 years independent.
So 2 years in California.
No. 4 years in California, independent, and then 2 more years here as well too in South Carolina.
In South Carolina.
Yeah. So 6 years.
6 years of
So
independent.
Technically, I've been back in franchise for only 3 years now.
So you went from 6 years 6 years franchise, 6 years independent, and 6 back to
3 years. 3 years back to franchise. Yeah.
So, now, how do you feel being independent back to franchise? Which do you prefer? Where?
Both have its challenges. I guess the best way to look at it is this way. The best way to put it is they're both great. Independent, you think you're going to have a lot more time. You technically don't. You don't. Your phone is on. It should be on you day and night, and you're going to get the calls. You're going to get the emails. You're going to get the leads. You have to be on top of that, because if you don't, nobody else will. Even if you have employees, still you got to be on top of them as well too. You got to be on top of your flooring. You got to be on top of buying cars, reconditioning cars. Make sure you're funded. All of that. I mean, you name it. It has a little bit of both. The stress level is up here with independence. With franchise, if you're in management, yes, there's stress, but at least you don't have to worry about like the depends what position you're in, I guess, right? And as a sales manager, you just have to make sure you're making money and selling cars. That's it. And your guys are producing. That's it. Your guys and girls are producing. That's it.
And that's when you were a franchise, managing your sales team?
I think stress level is much better in the franchise world, in my opinion, especially if you manage it, if you know you found a good balance. Like I've been in it for 15 years now, and I found a really good balance between work and life balance as well too. So there's certain things that I always want when I go into a dealership. Let's say they want to hire me or this or that, right? Or they want consulting service or something like that. I always tell them these are the things that I need. If you can meet them, great. If no, I'm not going to join. I'm just letting you know. I've just found that balance, and it works for me, for myself. So far, so good.
So you fit the right teams. You stepped into right positions with the right people,
Yeah.
and that's what brought you here. And then you were sales, you were a floor manager in franchise, and then you stepped into the 6 years total of independent. Was that your first dip, into the finance part? Like, is that where you learned finance?
So yeah, realistically, I learned finance in independence, and I knew nothing about finance. Absolutely nothing. Just Interest rate, what's that? How
What's
do
an
you
interest rate?
calculate that?
Am I interested in rating your car?
But I knew nothing about that. I didn't know how to read credit reports. I didn't know what a credit report was, what a score did, what a score meant, how to build credit. I didn't know any of that. All I knew is you got to have a credit card to make payments on time and see somehow, some way your card, just being honest. And nobody really knows how the system works realistically. It's just, they do. It's a private company at the end of the day.
Borrow money, pay
Yeah,
it.
it's borrow money, pay, make sure your debt to ratio is good, and that's it. And your credit builds up.
For sure.
And I had to learn how to read credit reports. I had to learn how to structure deals as well too. I had to learn all of that. So it's not just about credit reports; it's about structuring the deals as well.
What do you mean by structured deals? Like, what is that in the finance industry? Because I've been in sales, but I haven't never been in the finance part. So
Structuring deals is knowing. Okay, let's say you look at the customer's credit, you look at the car that you're buying, whatever it's worth, money down, all that, and how can you structure that deal and get the best rate and get an approval? Most importantly, from the bank. That's it.
So you're putting the puzzle together, and
Exactly.
you're looking for that approval basically at that point.
Exactly.
And you don't want to send it. So basically, you qualify a person, right?
Mhm.
It sounds like structuring is qualifying them from their credit to their income to their debt right ratio and all that. And do you always submit it to the banks, or do you look at the numbers and advise the customer against sending it to the bank? Like if you know concretely that that bank will say no, like the banks are, or how does that work?
I have to answer this one correctly. I'll leave it at that. We never advise, we never suggest, but there's things that the customer needs to have in order to be able to get an approval.
So
I'll leave it at that.
basically, you can't advise, you can't
Correct.
suggest. That's almost considered steering, right? You can't
Correct.
steer a person.
You can't steer. No, you can't steer. You can't change. You can't change what a customer is really doing or really has. Let's say income wise, you can't change their income because that's lying. That goes against banking laws, right?
Yeah.
That goes against that bank ethics, and you can't.
So
You just have to find a way to get it done.
So this goes to the regulatory factor, right? Did you learn these things on the job, or is there some sort of course, or how did you get into
You
it?
learn this. You literally learn as you go. I was literally learn as I go. Literally, on the job learning.
There are a lot of trial and error, mistakes making,
I
or
mean,
you can't
I've made mistakes. I've made mistakes that were thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars as well. But luckily, they were fixable as well too. We even got into a lawsuit one time. Wasn't our fault, but we got into a lawsuit as well too. So we're like, you know what? Let's just buy the car back instead. Forget the lawsuit. It is what it is.
That's where the honesty, integrity.
Yeah, it's like,
hey,
you know what? It's okay. The customer lied about certain things and all that. It's okay. Let's just get the car back.
So this
We'll get
was
it
not
over.
even your guys' fault. This was a customer,
No.
hiding, fudging some numbers or something
Yep.
like that, and
Yep.
it ended up costing
It
you.
was just a certain way that I'm not going to get into the details of it, but I'll leave it at this. It was a certain way that a deal is structured on, not a deal structure, but on the paperwork on the sales contract that is printed out, but they wanted it a different way, but there's no way of changing it. So they felt that if they take us to court, they're going to win, which they absolutely did not. So for us, it was like easier just to say, you know what, here's your money back. Give us the car. Funny part is we sold the car the very next day and made almost double the money that we did on them.
So it ends up doing the right thing, pays back, and
Literally the
right?
very next day we sold the car. Literally the very next day.
How about mistakes that are unfixable? I mean, you got far in the car business, 15 years, so there's probably not much of those happen, right? Or how did your management react? Did they guide you in getting into management, getting into sales? How did the people who guided you to where you are today, how did they guide the process where you wouldn't make those fatal mistakes that would take you out of the business?
So I haven't really made mistakes like that. I mean, I didn't make the mistake. I got accused of a mistake. And then 2 weeks later, they found out who it was and they let the person go. And they were trying to get me back into this business, to this store.
Yeah.
And they were chasing me for about a year to come back. And I finally said, okay, let's do it. But then corporate said no, because they were scared that I'm going to sue them for wrongful termination.
So corporate got involved at that
Corporate
point.
got involved, and they're like, no, we can't, because they were scared. I found out through other people that that's the reason why they were scared that they're gonna get sued for wrongful termination. So I have to wait about a year and a half, just under a year and a half, until they could actually rehire me.
So that would be like a statute of limitation thing,
Exactly.
like right, what is it, 3 years in South Carolina, and then they'll feel comfortable
Correct.
from
Because
there.
then I can't sue them for it.
For that.
Yeah. But I know the truth, and I know who did it, and they found out who did it, and they can't tell me, but I found out.
So at that point, it wasn't a bridge burden or anything like that.
No.
Good
Because
terms.
no, very good terms, because the GM, the finance director at Valdo stores at that the particular location there, they all knew why I was there with that company. They all knew that I was there for growth, and they knew for a fact that I did not do anything wrong there. They knew 100%. And 2 weeks later, they found out who it was, and it was a person that was there for about 10, 12 years. And they let him go, of course. And I wish they arrested him, but that's okay. There's grace.
But given enough time, the truth ends up coming out.
Exactly.
Right?
See, here's the thing. I mean, they let him, again, integrity. I know my part. I know as long as I do my part the right way, I'm good.
At that point, it's like God deal with it, right?
Exactly. Was it hurtful? Was it painful at that time? Did I understand it? Why I was going through it? Absolutely not. I mean, absolutely yes. But did I understand it? No. Did I want to? Yes. Was I upset? Yes. Because I loved what I did that time. You know, I literally enjoyed it, and I didn't get why. But now looking back at it, thank you, Lord.
and a lot of times we don't get it when it's happening. It's only hindsight is 20/20, as they say, right?
Yep.
So you went to 6 years of independent, and then you went back into franchise. What franchise did you go into? Did you learn anything new from the first time you were in franchise?
Yes.
Franchise independent, back to franchise?
So I went to a Toyota store here in Greenville, South Carolina. So, and that was fun. That was real fun. That was real fun, yeah.
So is that where, because you started finance in independent, that was between the first franchise, first couple, dealerships you work with, you went into independent, that's where you dipped your toes in, buying cars, selling cars.
The finance side of it as well too, yeah.
And all that. And then you went into franchise again to Toyota. Did you go back on the floor of sales or management?
No. I went. So the reason why I went back to franchise is because we closed the dealership that we had here in Spartanburg, a partner and I. And I said, okay, well, what's next? And I didn't want to do it on my own with the independent. So I was like, all right, well, why not get into finance, like strictly finance? So I had the opportunity. I walked into the Toyota store, I remember, and literally just said, I wasn't even dressed up, all nothing, nothing. I walk into the Toyota store, and I remember my manager, Smitty, good old Smitty. Well, he was my manager after, but he's like,
sounds
hey,
like a
what are you
fun
doing
guy
here?
to be around, right?
Yeah, I'm like, he says, hey, what are you doing here? I'm like, listen, I know I'm not dressed appropriately, but I'm just driving by and just trying to see, are you guys hiring by any chance for a finance manager position? He's like, you're asking for a finance position? You're not even dressed coming to an interview or something? I'm like, I know. Like I said, I was just driving by. All right, come on, son, let's sit down and talk with me. So we talked for like 20, 30 minutes, if not more. And he's like, all right, I need you to meet my finance director. I need you to meet my GM. I need you to meet this person, blah, blah, blah. Got hired on the spot.
So just off the street, no resume,
literally
nothing.
No resume in hand, nothing. I got hired on the spot.
So what do you think was the reason that they hired you? Was it how you presented yourself? Was it your personality? Was it they just needed someone at that time?
No, it's a matter of everything. It's a matter of everything. It's not that they didn't need me, because they had a good group there as well too. I think what happened was the finance director, Rebecca Bug, the Smitty as well too. They saw the potential. They saw what I could bring as well too. Yeah, it was a lot. It was good. It was good.
So that was how long did you stay at that franchise?
So I was in Florida for a year.
That was in Florida, or is that Toyota?
No, here. That was here.
Yeah.
So just under 2 years.
About 2 years.
Just under 2 years.
And that was where you it was strictly finance,
Strictly finance. And I just said, I just want to learn strictly finance now. So the one thing that I always do is I always go to one place and I try to learn a specific thing now so I could get to the next level. Next thing I need to learn is service department. That's for me, is the service department. Do I want to do service? Absolutely not. But to get to the goal to where I want to be, I have to be in every single department.
You have to know basically the DNA and the foundation of a dealership. Like you have to know everything from sales, finance, service, or anything else from, the the person getting ready the car to send out, right?
Yeah.
They're cleaning it, vacuuming
Yeah.
it, and
Well, literally, you got to wear all hats. So you're buying the cars, you're cleaning the cars, you're posting the cars, taking pictures of the cars, you're selling the cars, you're selling the product. Now you're getting it funded. Now you have to register the vehicle, all of that.
so 2 years, was that enough to get the hang of finance and go from?
When you have the right people teaching you how to do it in the right way, it's more than enough. Yes.
Yeah, because it
And you're
sounds like
willing,
2 years.
and, yeah,
Wow,
and
it's-
you're willing to learn as well too. That's the thing for me. Again, I'm a big sponge guy when it comes to the car business. To this day, 15 years, and I'm still learning things every day.
and like you said from the beginning, you're not burned out yet, and
No, because I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to say, okay, I don't know this, but I need to know it now, and I need to know quick.
you're willing to take the steps.
Yeah, I'm willing to take the steps to get it.
So 2 years with Toyota, right? You learned finance and all that. Then what was the next steps? After that, where did you go? Where did life take you?
Florida, finance.
Florida. Finance again.
That's a different ballpark too. The customers there, the market there is totally different. It taught me how to be respectful and more aggressive. I don't know if that makes sense.
You know what they say about Florida is the further south you go, the further north you get, right? So basically, if you're going to Miami, you're not really south. You're living in New York or something like that, right? Is that true?
I don't know about that, but no, it's
No?
totally different people. Totally different people.
So what is different about Florida compared to South Carolina?
Just
like
the
what?
market and the way people do business there it's different. It's totally different. Here, let's say South Carolina, it's a lot more friendly. You could actually sit down with somebody. You could actually just talk with somebody. In Florida,
So
it's like
people
a
down
brick.
to business. They just want numbers. They want.
not with everybody, but a majority, I would say, yeah.
And why is that? Because here in South Carolina, people are laid back. Sometimes they'll tell you, "Bless your heart." It's not what you think it means.
That's very true.
Bless your heart. But Florida, you probably won't hear that term. But
Not bless your heart, that's for sure.
probably some other endearing terms.
Hey, I'll be quiet about that.
That's the car business. So you were in Florida for about a year or so, or how long?
Give or
were you?
take a little, yeah, about a year, yeah.
And what franchise was that with?
Mazda and Honda.
Mazda and Honda.
Mhm.
And which one do you prefer? Because you said Honda, not a fan of, right? But you still sold them.
Yeah.
For
Not a fan of well, now Mazdas are pretty nice actually.
the
yeah.
it seems like Mazda is going toward like a mid-level luxury, right?
Yeah,
They're not
yeah,
all the
that's
way up
their
there,
goal.
but
Correct. That's exactly what their goal is. Mid-level luxury vehicle, affordable mid-luxury vehicle. That's the best way to put it. Because if you look at the demographics of Mazda clientele, 18 to 25, and then the CX-90s are the 26 to 35 with kids and stuff like that, families.
pretty
That's it.
much the zoom generation that
Yeah.
has family and kids and need more
No,
space.
exactly. That's exactly what it is. And then if you need a bigger car, then you go to the bigger manufacturers.
For sure. And now you are with
Ford.
Ford.
Mm-hmm.
And what position are you in right now? What are your goals? Like where are you going from here?
Finance director right now.
Finance director.
Yeah.
And is that a big difference from finance to finance director? What are
Finance director. It's really the same thing. The only difference is now you managing a group of finance guys and girls. That's all. That's it. And you have to make sure that their job gets done. Make sure that they do things the right way. Make sure they're selling, training. That's it. And look for the next potential that you could promote within. And make sure that the store's making money in the finance department. That's the difference. That's it.
So what in the finance department, in the position that you have now, it's a high pressure environment, right? And does it take like your stress level? Like how do you manage that? How do you?
So if we could all be honest, okay, in the car business is not that difficult. It's not. You just have to be present. That's the most difficult part. You just have to be present. But the job itself, yes, it could get difficult because sometimes the clientele are hard to close, right? In finance, for instance, sometimes the banks could be difficult. Hey, we need this stipulation. Hey, we need this. And you give it to them, blah, 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 back and forth. It's like, hey, can you guys just fund the deal? Will you have everything there? It takes time, right?
So it almost sounds like it's managing expectation.
Yeah,
right?
it's really, honestly, that's exactly not exactly, but that's really what it is. It's managing the expectations from the customers, from the banks, and the employees as well too, your finance guys as well too. So how do I manage the stress with that? Pray. Take a break.
Right?
No, seriously, pray. Heck, yesterday I was all beat up and stuff. I'm like, guys, I'll be back. Give me 20 minutes. I'll be back. And I went to the lake real quick and I sat in the car and I'm like, breathe. And that's it. That's it. There's nothing to it. You know, the job is not that difficult realistically, but it's the things that make it sometimes difficult.
The things that add up to.
Yeah, the job is very, maybe because of my experience, it's not difficult for me. Maybe for other people it is. Don't get me wrong. It gets tough sometimes selling because it's like, dude, I'm giving you value here. And I'm giving it to you for free and you still don't want it. Like, what's wrong with you?
And how do you convince someone that they are getting value? Like if you're selling, you know, what are you selling? Their products from
Service contract, for
service
instance.
contracts, right? How do you convince the customer that they are getting value?
Depends on their needs. Depends on their needs. There's different ways. There's not one certain way. Maybe somebody's just concerned about finances. Maybe somebody's concerned about, hey, I travel a lot, you know, so if my car breaks down, you know, is this going to cover me if I'm going from, you know, South Carolina to California and I break down in Texas? Can I use this there? Is it going to cover these products? My tires and wheels? Is it going to cover this if I do this or that? You know, things like that, right? So it's finding that particular niche or that value that the person will see and saying, okay, that's why I want that product. And that goes between the fact finding, that goes between you just finding out what the person actually needs from the beginning. You know, finance doesn't start when they sit in your office, when, you know, in front of you right there. Finance starts with you. Hi, how are you guys? Oh, Daniel's helping you guys out with looking for a car. Great. That's awesome. You guys got a great guy right here. Find the car you want. If you have any questions about financing or anything like that, just let me know. I'll be here for you guys. I'll be helping you out.
So that's where they see your face. Like it's not in the finance office.
No.
You build rapport from the beginning.
No, very rarely that they're going to see me first in the finance office. Very rarely, because I'm outside with you and with the sales guys. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm trying to figure out what do I need to do to help these guys out in any way possible to be successful to sell a car. I'll go close deals with them for them as well too, still to this day. And I'll make sure that I hold for myself money as well too, and for them make money as well too. I'll still do all that.
So what's the balancing act? Because, you know, they have to make money. You have to make money. The dealership has to make money. And the customer comes in and everybody wants a deal. And how do you present a deal and the product that you sell, and the person and the customer will steps away and is convinced that they got a deal while you also make money?
Yeah.
How does
That's a good
the
question.
person get that confidence?
So, one, you find out what the person needs. One, obviously budget, right? So you find out what they need, and if you can meet that need, great. And if there's room for you as well too to make more money, great, even better.
For sure.
Just because you met the meet, you meet the need, but don't leave money on the table.
Exactly.
It's the saying, you know the old say, don't leave money on the table. If you can make money, why not?
And where's that line for you? As like, so you'll have two customers. You'll have the customer that comes in, you meet their needs, you sell the product, you make money, they're happy, they feel like they got a good value in the service that you offered. And then there's the people who will walk away, and no matter what you give them, what you offer them, they're always upset. They're always ripped off. And is that the customer getting ripped off? Is that the salesperson or the finance person not presenting correctly? Or why would a person walk away after signing a deal and not feel that they were, you know, got the best value for what they paid for?
I mean, everybody kind of, no matter how good of a deal you think you got, everybody to a certain extent has buyer's remorse.
That comes in.
Yeah, that's naturally. Everybody has, man, did I actually get a good deal? Even when I know I got an amazing deal. For instance, me personally, when I go buy a car, I could get deals that you would go in there and you would not be able to, or anybody else. That's why people come to me and say, hey, I need you to broker me a deal. Here's some money for you. I need you to broker me a deal, right? And I could get deals. Even then, I'm like, man, was this the best deal that I could have got?
It's always
I think I could have
in
got
the back
more.
of your
I think I
mind.
could have got
It's
more.
like,
yeah.
they said yes to $500 less.
It's like, man, I should have said 2,000.
In
No,
the
but
end,
it's the truth.
it's a mentality, right? You can be grateful, or you can always walk around and it's always everybody's wrong. And, you know,
Listen, this is the way I look at it as a consumer side of it, right?
Yeah.
If I'm a consumer and I say, hey, this is where I want to be, this is what I could afford, can you do it? And they say yes, great. That means I got a great deal. You can't think second about it. Maybe somebody got a better deal than me. Maybe they didn't. It doesn't matter, right? But at the same time, you cannot second guess yourself. If you're second guessing yourself, what's the point?
exactly. And why would you want to live that way, second guessing every step of your life?
I mean,
right?
okay, great. I didn't get a better deal. Okay, it is what it is. Move on. But you got what you wanted.
But most times, like when I walk into the dealership, like I do my research months ahead of time. Like I know how much that car costs, and if you're realistic,
You're one of those, huh?
yeah, exactly. I'm one of those. So
With a notebook, huh?
I got the notes in my brain. I got ADHD, and I process everything up here. I'm very disorganized, but it's a very organized disorganized. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
No,
but
what is that saying? No, I don't remember. Forget it. Organized disorder or something like that. No.
organized disorder, or
Yeah,
something
something
like
like
organized
that.
chaos.
Chaos, yeah.
Where everybody's gonna look at my desk. Nobody gets what's going on, but
But you get it.
I get it, right?
Yeah.
So looking back, what decision or habit made the biggest difference in your F&I, career and just in general in your car career?
I guess keep moving forward, honestly. Two things, actually. Keep moving forward and next. The word next. I
Next.
kid you not. It's funny and silly and weird. I get it. But, a lot of guys and a lot of girls in the car business, let's say they don't make it the deal or they don't sell product or they don't make money on their deals and they go, man, why can I do this? Or why didn't I do this? Or why didn't I sell this? Why does this customer buy this? People ponder on why. You can't. All right, great. Get it on the next one.
We'll take it. The next
That's
one.
it. Next.
You threw in the fishing line. You pulled it up. It's empty. There's
Yeah.
no worm. Put another worm on. Throw it back in.
Exactly. Next.
Or next.
Next. Like you have to have that mentality. You can't stay here. Think about it. Yeah, you ponder and you think, okay, what could have I done better and use it next time. But you can't take it with you and cry a river, why this, and get upset with the customer, get upset with yourself. No, next. You get it on the next one. It's a numbers game. You're going to get it. Just
gonna
keep
have it.
moving forward and next.
Exactly. And then, speaking about finance and everything we're talking about, kind of jumping all over the place. But one thing that I always found interesting is you're in finance, and I get you make money on, hooking up people with their loans, right? And offering the products and services that, they have a need for. But one thing I don't get is the leasing part. How does leasing and financing work? Because when you're leasing, are you getting a loan or
Yeah,
that's
the same.
fine. Is it the same thing?
Literally, leasing is the same thing as buying a car. It's just the difference is you get a couple of other options with the lease. With the lease, you get, you could buy out the car anytime you want. Same thing. It's the same thing. You just have to refinance and get your new loan if you want to purchase it or pay it off cash or whatever you want to do, right? You could walk away during the lease as long as there's positive equity, or if there is negative equity, you have to pay the difference, obviously. You could trade it in as well, too. And at the end of the lease, if you want to do that, you could just walk away from it. Let's say you had the car for 3-year lease, right? And you got into an accident. Now there's a accident damage report on your vehicle. The depreciation part of it kicked in because of that as well too.
Yeah.
Well, why would you want a car with a bad Carfax on it?
Well, here's
Walk
the
away from
question.
it or get yourself another one.
You can walk away from it, but the other question I have, and this leads into it, is
I'm not saying walk away from it as in like, hey, stop paying for it.
no, just trade it in or,
Yeah,
or give it back to the
exactly.
dealership and pay the difference or something
Correct,
like that.
correct.
But this leads into the next question. We all know the word gap insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a product only offered to the finance side, or is gap covered in lease as well?
Lease as well.
never knew that.
Yeah, lease as well. Some manufacturer financing, let's say Toyota, Mercedes, they already have that in their leasing gap. Most manufacturers do. Only certain ones don't in their leasing. But if you're gonna lease a car, you better put gap on there.
You got to have gap on there.
I'm sorry to say, but you're an idiot if you don't.
So what happens if you're leasing a car? So did they require an amount down to keep you positive in equity, or are you negative equity right away when you lease, or how does that work?
So with gap, it's a little bit different. Depends on the state because, like for instance, in South Carolina, for instance,
Yeah.
you if your LTV, which is loan to value, is under 80% or below, even if it's at 81 or 80.9, you're not allowed to have gap.
You can't have gap?
You cannot have gap. Yeah, that's on the purchase. On the lease, it's a little bit different. On the lease, why would you put a whole bunch of money down? You're still paying for it, in my opinion. That's to me, I look at it different when it comes to leasing the money down. Like I've leased numerous of cars before, and I love leasing because I'm in the business. I get a new car every 2-3 years, depends whatever it is or however taxes for purposes, things like that as well to business
That's a full write off on your business, right?
I'm not a
Not financial or legal
no, I'm not a
advisor.
tax advisor, but there's ways to do it. There's a ask your tax person about that. There's ways to do that. Again, ask your tax person about that. But when it comes to leases, no matter how much money down you put, I would still put gap on there. Also depending on your state, if it doesn't come with the manufacturer financing already.
Well, you always hear when they lease, you see the advertising and promos and saying, you know, 2,900 due at signing or things like that. What does that do at signing for? Is that to give you positive equity, or so like some leases won't require anything due at signing, but some will say, you know, $3,000 due at signing, 1,500 due at signing.
Yeah.
What is that? And
Listen,
what does
leasing and down payments, leasing literally all it is to lower your payment, and then in leasing, what you're paying is the depreciation part of the vehicle.
So you're covering your depreciation.
Exactly.
So if something happens and you have to hand it back to the dealership, and if you have positive equity and you're covered.
Not necessarily that. To a certain extent, yes, but no. Leasing is literally you're financing the depreciation part of the vehicle. That's why it's much less expensive. When it comes to purchasing a vehicle, right, your payment is always going to be higher. Even though it's a less equipped car, your payment is going to be higher. Now, with the leasing, you have the option to get a much more expensive vehicle at a lower payment price. And sometimes you don't even have to put as much money down.
So that money down is basically
just to lower your payment,
just
realistically.
Lowering your payment.
That's it. Because if you don't put money down, your payment goes higher. Same thing as financing. You don't put money down, your amount financed goes higher. Therefore, your payment goes higher.
And that explains to me, because I always wonder, like, if I'm financing money down, I see the car is 50,000, I put 10,000 down, I know I have 40,000
40,000, yeah.
Like, what's that money down doing when I lease? And
now, let me ask you this: have you leased a car before?
No,
Okay.
I purchased but never leased.
So when you lease a car, there's what's called a residual. That residual never changes. It doesn't matter how much money you put down, and what that residual is the price that you could buy the vehicle for, the value of the vehicle. That, let's say Mercedes, for instance, right? Says, hey, in 3 years, after 36,000 miles, your car is going to be worth this much, and this is how much you're going to be able to buy it for. And this is Mercedes saying, hey, we spend millions of dollars in research to how much this car is going to be, and this is what that number is going to be. So it doesn't matter how much money you put down. That number will never change. What changes is your payment. Either going to go higher for less money down or lower for more money down.
That's interesting to know, because I always wonder what that money down on a lease did.
Just to lower your payment, realistically. You don't have to put money down. Listen, there's manufacturers that will tell you, oh, you have to put money down. You have to put. No, you don't.
So when you hear
I've leased numerous of cars from different manufacturers. But rarely did I ever put money. There's actually one time that we did actually, and that was like $1,900. That's it on a lease. And even then, I was like, why?
So when you hear those ads that said, you know, lease this car for $399 a month, only $3,000
it's
due
just
at
to
signing.
get the special ads.
That's just for the ads.
That's just for the ads.
And that's basically to get that payment out, saying
Exactly.
$399. Well, how do you get that? It's worth the $4,000 down,
Correct.
right?
I mean, realistically, make it simple in simple terms, yes.
That's interesting, because I always wondered what that money down was for leases. I knew what it was in finance. I
It's
knew
the same thing, just to lower your payment.
Yeah, I always saw the big number going down with the down payment, and, you know, big number going down and monthly payment going down.
Yeah.
Now I understand that with leasing, it's pretty much the same thing. It's your
Listen, it depends on what kind of car you get, what manufacturer I should say you get. Depends on how you use your car. Leasing and purchase, they're both great. It's just a matter of what fits your lifestyle better. That's it. It's based on your lifestyle, not other people's opinions or this or that. It's what fits your lifestyle. Leasing or purchase, doesn't matter. It's the same thing.
Speaking of lifestyle, so this is where what worries me about leasing, and if I, you know, ever get a car again, it's probably going to be financing, but correct me if I'm wrong, right? So I have a vehicle, 2019 Honda Pilot. I've had it for 5 years, and my wife puts on average about 30,000 miles on this car per year, 30,000 miles. Am I out of leasing? Like, is that going to be crazy?
Not necessarily.
I
I mean, yeah, you're going to pay miles and all that. You're going to have to buy miles if you wanted to as well, too, right? If you do that. But average driver drives 15 to 20,000 miles a year, realistically.
And some are less. Like you see leases with 10,000, 12,000 miles a year, 15,000.
Yeah, there's 10,000 miles or 7,500 miles. I mean, me personally, 12 to 15,000 is more than enough. And I drive a lot.
Yeah.
I drive a lot. So it's more than enough. And plus, depends on the manufacturer. Toyota, I believe, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, depends on the miles that they're 15 cents a mile. You add that up, 15 cents. Let's say you go over 5,000 miles. That's what?
That's 1,500 for every 10,000 miles.
Hey, find this guy. Do the math real quick.
Sounds well. Every 10,000 miles, $1,500 if it's 15 cents, right?
No. So every mile you go over the miles, it's 15 cents. Mercedes, I think it's 25 or 35 cents. I mean, it just depends realistically. But here's the cool part. Most of the time, let's say if you do have a lease and you went over the miles and you want to get another car, if you go back to that same manufacturer, you want to get another car, they'll waive it most of the times.
So they'll actually waive your over mileage?
They'll waive it.
Is that within like limitations,
So
or
the
how
way,
does that work?
so realistically, they buy out the car from you. They use it as a trade-in. Then you don't have to pay the miles. That's it.
So
Simple terms.
something like our family situation, right? We get a car, that car goes everywhere, 30,000 miles a year. If I get a 3-year lease, that's 90,000 miles at the end of the year.
For you personally, no. If you're driving 30,000 miles a year, you need a purchase. You need a purchase. Problem is, you're losing a lot of money in depreciation too because of the miles. That's the thing.
And that's where Gap comes in handy, right? Because if I'm purchasing a car and I don't have a big down payment and I have those many miles, that depreciation goes down with every mile.
Yeah, but Gap is not used for that. Gap is used if your car gets a total loss or for any reason. Let's say it was stolen and they got rear-ended or whatever. Tree falls on, it gets in the flood.
So that's not covered
if
if I'm trading in, right?
No,
It
no, no,
doesn't
no,
cover
no,
that?
no. It doesn't cover that. No, no. Gap is only included. Gap is included if a vehicle has a total loss of any kind, by act of God, or a tree falls on it, car accident, or the car gets flooded, and there's a deficit that needs to be owed to the bank. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, you owe $20,000 on your car. Insurance company says we're only going to pay $15,000. Well, that means you have to pay $5,000 out of pocket, so the loan could be paid off, right? Therefore, pay up.
At that
Gap
point,
comes
the
in.
insurance-
Correct. At that point, that's where Gap comes in and pays that difference, what the insurance company does not pay.
So you're covered whether it's an accident or a theft or things like that.
Correct.
But now if you're
In the
putting extra
event
miles,
of a total loss, doesn't matter what kind of total loss.
so if you're just trading it in, or if your engine blows, that's
No.
not Gap. That's
No.
goes into extended warranties or things
Correct,
like that.
correct.
Or-
Correct.
And here's a question. I don't know if you have the answer to this, but how does mileage affect extended warranties? You're limited to 100,000, 50,000, or how does
No,
that-
there's warranties that could go up to 200,000 miles. It's just a matter of finding them. That's it.
finding him?
Yeah. And then there's warranties actually for that go up to, believe it or not, 1,000,000 miles
Million
that you
miles?
could use from a commercial side of it. And it's crazy because when I found out about this, but it has to be like a commercial truck. I'm not talking about like a semi-tractor. No, I'm talking about like a F-250,
Like a
F-350,
3500 or-
3500, 4500, something like that. On those, you could do that, yes.
And I had a friend, he purchased three Ram 3500s, and he used them in the hotshot industry, hauling cars. And at that point, I forgot what dealership it was in North Carolina, but they were offering, I think it was 5 years, unlimited mile extended
Yeah,
warranties.
there's some warranties like that, but you got to be careful with them. If you really want the unlimited stuff, it's going to be the commercial side of it. Realistically, on the personal vehicle side, I mean, there is from certain warranty companies, I would say, but still, nobody really keeps their cars that long anymore.
Except me. I like
you
to
don't
ride them
need
until
to-
wheels could fall off.
No, everybody, listen, by the time your car gets to 120, 150,000 miles, I don't care what car it is, you're going to want to get rid of it.
Well, we're talking about the people in the hotshot industry where they're doing
Well, that's
commercial
different.
driving.
Yeah, that's totally
something
different. That's like, that's not even a part of, that's different.
But you mentioned something. You got to be careful with the unlimited warranties, right? What's the catch with those? Because if someone is in the commercial industry where they're hauling and they're doing 100,000 miles a year, in 5 years, that's 500,000 miles. Things
Yeah.
tend to go wrong.
So
Like, is there a catch? What's
in
the
hot
catch?
shot? No, in hot shot. So the 1,000,000 miles. So the problem with those is you're never gonna get the electronic components part of it covered, and you're only gonna have powertrain warranty when it comes to the engine, transmission, and drive axle, and that's only literally the internally lubricated parts of it, right? So with that said, let's say your radiator goes out. Well, it overheats, blows your motor. Is that covered?
Now, your motor is blown. I mean, that's drivetrain. So would that be covered?
Yeah, but the radiator is what caused the problem, though.
So this is their loophole into getting out of pain?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Never knew that.
I worked on both sides of the industry, the finance selling the product, and I worked at the warranty side of it as well too, where I was the warranty guy and I was providing you the warranty. And that's when I learned, like, hey, these warranty companies are good. They're very good. They're good to have. You just got to have the right ones.
So those people, the guys who buy them thinking they have unlimited miles or 1,000,000 miles.
Yeah, because let me ask you this. You're a manufacturer, right? Why do you, or let me put it this way. Why do you think a manufacturer has a 3-year 36 warranty or 4-year 48,000 mile warranty
I would
on
think-
total exclusionary, meaning like The correct word is total exclusionary, but they say bumper to bumper. A lot of people like to say that.
I would think they want to limit their liabilities, right? Is that why? Because I
Well-
mean, 3 year 36. The more you drive, the more things go wrong, the more things they have to pay
Now, why is there a 5-year, 60,000-mile warranty on the powertrain, and then let's say Hyundai, for instance, and Kia has a 10-year, 100,000-mile?
on the powertrain.
Yeah.
Is there a catch to that?
So the reason why the powertrain warranties are always going to be more is because that's what the manufacturer actually makes. Okay, the engine, transmission, and drive axle. Now, everything else that comes with the vehicle, electronic components, you have third-party companies that are selling those products to these manufacturers. And that's the reason why they're only covered for 2-3 years or whatever. Let's say 3 years. Most of them are 3 years or 4-year, 48, I believe, for Mercedes. I don't remember exactly. But reality is, me as a manufacturer, okay, I'll warranty the electronic components that I didn't make for a certain amount of time. After that, you're on your own. Now, what I made, the engine, transmission, and drive axle, oh yeah, I'm going to stand behind that much longer. So that's the reason why.
So it's their product. They're confident in their product.
They're confident in their product. I mean, I'm putting it in simple terms right now. Listen, I'm confident in those products, yes, for a certain time. My products, I'm confident for a much longer time.
And I'm willing to cover it.
And I'm willing to cover it, yeah.
The third-party manufacturer of reflectors don't know. So I don't know if you've ever seen that video, but they're the Ford GT, right? And then I think it was a Ford Fusion. So somebody had one of the red or the orange reflector turning signal.
I didn't see this.
Yeah, it fell.
I want to see this.
It fell off, and don't get me wrong. It's been a few years, and it's not exactly the story, but from what I remember, is the little reflector fell off. They went to Ford for the GT. It was like I don't know if it was like $1,500 or a couple $100 or something like that. And then they're like, well, can I get it for the Fusion, or I don't know if it was the Fiesta or whatever it was. Because they searched the part number, and it was the same part, as the GT. And instead of paying a couple $100 or $1,500 for the GT part number, they bought the same exact part from the Fusion.
I'm trying to remember what car this was also. I think the Bugatti. What Bugatti was this? Like one of the first Bugattis or something like that, right? The headlight, I think. I could be wrong. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was a Bugatti. The headlight is from a Nissan 300ZX.
From a Nissan. And what's the price difference if you're going to
A lot.
Bugatti to buy the same
A lot, significant.
And do you think they limit the headlights electronically? Like if you're going to buy it from Nissan and try to put it there, are they interchangeable?
Maybe now, but back then I don't think so.
So loophole. Go to Nissan and buy your Bugatti parts, right?
I mean, look at Volkswagen and Audi. Go buy some Volkswagen parts for a fraction of the cost versus one that says Audi on it. It's going to be the same part number, same everything, just different dealership, much less price versus the actual Audi.
And that's interesting because, sometimes, like I've had the experience where I went to buy parts. I had an Acura and I had a Honda, right? And same exact part will fit both cars, and you go to Acura, and they'll charge you 2 or 3 times more for that part.
Yep.
And then if you go to Honda and say, hey, can I get this part for my Acura? They usually, for some reason, they're not willing to sell it. But if you just ask for the part, they'll sell it to you.
If you just give them the part number, they'll sell it to you, yes.
But if you tell it's for your Acura, when you have a Honda, you're going to Honda.
That's more of the dependent on your service advisor or your parts guy. But that shouldn't be a problem at all whatsoever. But it's depends on the manufacturer too, because some manufacturers won't allow it. Actually,
they wouldn't allow even if
that's why you just come with the part. Some depending on the part again, you might need a VIN number for that as well too.
Yeah, and I've had an experience where you'll go and you'll pull that part from a junkyard, and the Honda part will fit the Acura, but the Honda dealership won't sell it because you have an Acura VIN number.
I can't remember the last time we've been into a junkyard.
It was years ago.
Pick and pull in Roseville, off Roseville Road right there.
Exactly.
That was back in California.
It's been probably a good 10 years at least for me.
At least. At least.
All right. And then going on for next to stay on track, because, we're speaking about your career track and, where you started, where you're going. What's the single best piece of advice you'd give someone who wants to follow in your footsteps, who starts in sales and wants to get into finance and climb the career ladder in automotive?
Honestly, the same advice that I was given, which I said in the beginning: honesty, integrity, and being a sponge. And every time we have a new guy or I hire a new guy, I just hired a guy last month and he started on the 1st. He's doing great. I know it's his first month and all, but he's doing great. I same thing. I told him, listen, man, you're gonna make money. Just be honest, be a sponge, be present, do things the right way, and you'll make money. If you need any help, ask. Don't expect anything from anybody. Ask. What you do, what you put into this business is what you're gonna get out of it.
It's yeah. So if you ask, people who are willing to help. If you're not gonna ask, you can't really expect someone to help
Don't
you at that
expect somebody to feed you. You got to go feed yourself, and then that's either information, whatever, knowledge wise or experience wise, or it doesn't matter what it is, sales wise. You got to. It's what you put into it is what you're gonna get out of it. If you can't understand that, then I think you're in the wrong business.
So at that point, he gets in. First month, he's doing great. He's killing it. And not just him, but just a salesperson that gets in. They're doing great the first month, second month, third month. And then let's say you've seen it in the industry.
Mhm.
You have the fourth month or the fifth month, and they're having a bad month. Their motivation gets down. You know, is that where the burnout starts coming in, where you don't see income coming
No.
in, or what?
I mean, it can, yes, it can, and you could be like, man, what is going on? And I've had moments where when I was in sales, like, all right, I'm doing everything the right way. Heck, I had moments in finance where I was like, I know I'm doing the right things. And I even asked my director, I even asked my guys, I'm like, listen, I need you guys to sit in with me while I'm with customers and just grade me. I don't know if you got to grade me or correct me or do whatever I need to do. Tell me afterwards what I need to do if I'm doing something wrong.
Like, am I off track?
Like, am
here?
I off
Like,
track here? Like, what's going on? If you guys want to record the whole situation, watch it after, let me know, please. I've had a moment where I like that, where like for 2 months, yeah, I was like struggling. And I didn't get it. But I was like, no, just keep going. And they were telling me, dude, you're fine. It's just maybe the customers or this or that. But reality is, the best advice again that I was kept on getting: keep going, just keep going, keep on doing you, keep on doing. And then it flipped. You just got to go through it, and that's when you really learn. When you have to dig deeper inside you, inside your heart, inside your mind. Like, all right, I need to level up more now. And when you actually do, and then you see the benefits that you've reaped, oh my God, it's amazing. I'll give you an example. When I was in Florida, I had a phenomenal finance director. And at first, I didn't understand it. I didn't see it. After my first month, and then how hard he was being on me, and then I realized finally after the first month and second month, about the third month, I was like, I went back to him and I closed the door on him, and I'm like, sit your butt down, and I need to talk to you. And I said to him, I remember, because he would say certain things, right? It was a little bit rude and disrespectful. And I was like, hey, if it was somebody else, I would knock you out. But because it's you now, I see what you're doing and why you did that to me. I was like, I get it now.
Almost like tough love, right?
It was literally the toughest love I've ever received from any manager, but I got it, and it clicked to me. And once it clicked to me, it just went skyrocket. And I was in Florida for a year, right? So let's say the 7 months that I was there, he taught me so much that I'm like, I see it. Like, I can't deny that what he taught me and what he was doing did not affect me in a positive way, like night and day difference.
So you figure it out. Hey, it's tough love. You appreciate him. You love him back.
Oh yeah.
Now you take this as a learning experience, and you're in a management position. You're a finance director. How do you transmit and pass this tough love to your floor guys? And how do you get them to understand that it is tough love, and you're not just picking on them for?
See, with me, he figured out how to get to me, and it was the tough love. For me, I have to figure out how do I get to my guys and to be able to, and girls, to be able to teach them the same thing.
And each individual is different.
Every individual is different. With me, it was like he figured out that, listen, if I'm going to be tough on this guy, he's going to get tired of it himself, and he's going to be like, all right, maybe I am doing something wrong or something like that, right? Or maybe I need to learn something, right? And he figured out how to get to me. He did. He really did. And it worked. So now I have to figure out with my guys and girls, all right, do I have to be soft? Do I have to be tough? Or do I have to do this or that? Is this person a visual person? Do I have to show them videos, or do I have to show them how to do it? Or is this person, do I just give them books to learn? How do I teach this person to be successful?
It's almost like when you have kids, and each individual child is different personality, different person, and they come out with different personalities. So it's like, wait, they're in the same house.
Yeah,
they're taught the same thing.
Listen, did you thank your parents for all the spankings that you received before? I did. I did. I did. It was tough love, but I learned. And I remember again when I was older, I literally called my mom and dad. I'm like, listen, guys, I love you guys. Thank you for all the spankings.
Exactly.
As a kid growing up, I was tough.
And one kid will, needs a spanking, another person just a stern word, and
Yeah.
everybody's different. Everybody takes it differently.
I guess tough love is for me.
That's what you needed at that moment, right?
Yeah.
And that's when, if you get someone to mentor and to teach, do you feel like you would best mentor someone who is identical to you in a tough love for tough love, or can you mentor people who are different from you? How does that work?
So thank God, one of the things I do have is I understand how to get to people in a good way. I'm saying how to understand, to make them understand in their ways. For instance, you're in the trucking industry, right?
Yeah.
Well, for me, I could give you examples of stories and things like that. Let's say even selling you product wise, based on that, that are relevant to you,
Based on
to
the
your
industry.
lifestyle, based on him. Let's say somebody's in auto, somebody's in finance, somebody is in, I don't know, an attorney. I express to them in ways that they understand things. So that's how I do with them and with customers.
And with customers as well. And then, we're here about an hour and 15 minutes in, and time goes fast when you have a
Way
good
too
topic to
quick.
talk about, right?
Way too quick.
Way too quick. Kind of to close it off, what are your goals for the next 3 to 5 years, whether it's in your professional setting with your team, like, because you mentioned you want to also kind of monitor the service part of the, industry. You've been in finance, you've been in sales. What are your goals and what are your next steps in the next 3 to 5 years?
So as much as I'd like to manage service and learn service as well too, I don't think I'm gonna have to, which is good, because it's not the side of it, not the side that I really enjoy. Let's put it that way, of the car business, because I'm not a mechanic. Let's put it that way. I'm not a mechanic, and I'm not the person that to go work on cars and all that. Like, I'll do it if I have to.
If there's a need, you can
Yeah, if
cover
there's
it.
a need, I'll go do it. That's fine. But I'm not the person now. The goal for me is always going to be a GM, because I want to be a general manager, and I want to have my own franchise store.
So is
And
that
I
the
wanna-
next one from finance to GM? Is that the
I mean,
bet?
yes and no. I mean, depends who you ask. Depends who you ask. Some think it's on the desk. I don't like the desk. Anybody could push paper and payments. That's just my opinion. My opinion again. But for me, my goal is to be a GM, and I want to own my own franchise. I want to be a partner in the group as well too. That's my goal, and I will get there.
And I can see the path you're taking from franchise to independent, and in the independent part of your career, you wear all the hats from
Yeah.
finance to service
Yeah.
to sales to to everything.
Yeah.
So I can kind of see the progression of going to GM.
If you look at the whole picture, you will literally see why I had to go through every single position. And even now, yes, I'm not in service. Yeah, no, I'm not in parts as well too, right? As well, but because I worked on those cars during the independent stuff, I know a lot about these cars. That when I offer the products, let's say in finance now or in the sales when I did, I could I know that, and I'd give an answer to the customer instead of me, hey, I don't know. I'm gonna find out for you, But if I didn't know, I would tell them I don't know. I'll find out for you, and I would tell them.
we'll find out, and
Yeah.
we'll get the answer. And that's when I sold. I sold cars for almost a year, not quite. I had a much different experience than you did.
No, I'm not gonna go there. Oh, you know how I feel about that.
That's a story for a different time.
That's
but
a
let me
story
tell
for
you
a different
this.
time, and
I
you know
sold-
exactly how I feel about that. If I was to see those managers right now, oh, they'd be in trouble.
Let me tell you this. I sold 20 cars a month on average, one car every day at least. And I was making about $1,200 after taxes and everything. And I was told to be happy, and that's how it is. And
You know exactly how I feel. I'm not going to continue about that topic, because that topic really, when I heard it, and to this day, when I think about it, even right now, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
if my
I
guy
was-
is selling 20 cars, I'll give him a demo. I'll give him a demo. I'll give him a gas card. I'll make sure your car's filled up every day if he's selling 20 cars every single month.
Yeah,
I'm just
and
being honest.
my average was 20 cars a month. Lowest was 19. Highest was like 23, 24 in a month. And basically average, I would say one car every day for about 7 or 8 months. And after being in the industry for about 7, 8 months, I was like, hey, either I get compensated for my numbers or I'm out. And they weren't willing to do it, and I
Yeah.
was out at that point. Yeah. All right, so we're closing in on almost an hour and a half here, which really nice conversation. And my story is for another day. Today is about Vitaliy. So next,
Oh man, I get
next
heated every time I talk. I think about that, and I call you sometimes. I'm like, man, I'm thinking about your story.
hey, the statute of limitation is over on that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, because
Yeah.
you lost a lot of money in the thousands. I promise you that. Because if you're selling, well, what manufacturer?
Mazda.
Mazda. Okay, so let's say our guys at Mazda, when I worked in Tampa, if you're selling 20 cars, man, you're making at least $12,000 a month.
At least.
At least.
So that's 10 times more than the 1,200 I was making.
That's at least $12,000 a month.
And
At
I-
least.
and I don't know how they keep their salespeople. It was almost like a conveyor line of people in and out because I got in. I think I lasted about 7-8 months, and
That's why you got burnt out. That's why you have a bad rep toward the car business.
And
Because I
that's-
think you'd be great at it, but you're not. I've told you this. You'd be great at it, but I think you're just burned out because of the situation that you had.
I have a distaste and a burnt out and a distaste for the car business because of the management and
Yeah.
how that franchise in Central New York,
Yeah.
paid me and how they sold themselves. Because when they promised me, I was a 19-year-old kid that was gullible. I believed, what they said. And like I said, a different story for a different day. But that 7 months of making $1,200 a month, selling at least 20 cars a month, it burns you out and it just leaves a sour taste in your mouth.
That again, I am not going to go on that topic any further. I'll just say I'm very upset about the whole situation. I wish you called me when you were in the car business at that time and told me that, and then I would tell you, sue them and get out. Well, get out and sue them.
That would have been almost 15 years for me, about 13 years ago or so.
Yeah, because that's
Well,
unheard of.
maybe one day I'll get the energy and the confidence to go back into it. But so far, look at this.
Hey, you know where I'm at.
Yeah, Anderson is about an hour and a half. It's kind of a long drive.
Is it an hour and a half for you?
I think it's about an hour and a half because I have
Let's move to
about
Greenville.
50 minutes or so to Greenville and another 25,
Yeah.
30 minutes to you.
30 minutes from Greenville, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Or 45. Yeah, you're right. About an hour and 20.
And then going to close it out. It's been an hour and a half. I don't know if the audience has the patience to continue on this. I mean, me and you, we can go on for hours
Yeah.
for on this topic. But you said your next thing you want to go into GM. You want to manage and own a franchise. Have your own. Is that the path you want to take with the current franchise? You have you
With the current group, I do, yes. The current group that I am, I'm not going to say the name, but with the current group that I do, I'm sorry, with the current group that I am, yes, I do, because I believe that this group is it only has like about 32 stores. No, 24, 24 stores. It's got 24, not 34. Not 34, 24 stores, and it's got a lot of room for growth.
so there's a lot of room for growth.
A lot of room for growth, and they want to grow. That's the thing. They want to open more stores, or they want to buy out more stores. So right now, I'm just being a sponge in the position that I'm at and in the auto group that I'm at, and preparing myself for when their opportunity comes. I'm doing my part, so when the opportunity comes, I'll be ready for it.
So you have 15 years from 6 years of franchise, 6 years of independent. You have, again, back to franchise. You have sales, experience. You have sales manager position, floor manager position, finance. Next is GM from here, like you said.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
And then it sounds like you're in with a good dealership, and you started with honest integrity,
Yeah.
and you're with honest in a group that's honest integrity as well, right?
When it comes to the car, I don't mess around when it comes to that, because I'll give an example. When I moved from California to South Carolina, people were talking about me here, and I didn't even know them, but they knew me. When I moved from here to Florida, people were talking about me there as well, and I didn't even know them, but they knew me. Why I say this, the car business is a very big, small world. Some way, somehow, people are going to know about you. Either you're good or you're bad. It doesn't matter which one it is. They're going to know about you. If you're doing good, they're going to know good things about you. If you're doing bad, they're going to know bad things about you, and you're not going to last long in anywhere you go.
It's one or the
And
other. It
it's
can't be
one or
both.
the other. You can't be both. There's no play in the middle guy in this. It's either you do or you don't. Simple as that.
And then you've went through the industry, and from what I know, there's no burnt bridges in the industry, right? It's good to keep connections.
So, how do I put it this way? I never really had to burn bridges ever, besides one particular moment back in California with an independent store. But even then, we sat down and said, hey, let's make it together. And it is what it is. It happened. It was business. And that's it. And to this day, if I needed to call him, if I need something, I'd call them. To this day, they call me as well too if they need something. So it's like,
Everybody's on speaking
yeah,
terms, and I would not consider that a burnt bridge.
yeah.
That's just
I mean, in the beginning, it was a burn bridge, but then we squashed it out. Sat down together, grabbed lunch together, and said, "Let's fix this." Situation, blah blah blah, and we did, and we fixed it. But to what you said, never burn a bridge in the car business. I don't care. Don't let your emotions get a hold of you, because you will burn the bridge if you do. That's a fact.
And how do you manage the emotions, because they can get heated in the moment?
Just don't. Just don't.
You step away. You just
Listen. I'm mad. I'm pissed. I'm disappointed. Step away if you have to. If you have to.
just go watch the water, and watch the lake, right?
Even if you have to, literally, honestly, I know it sounds silly, but I wish I used that in other parts of my life. But
That's a story for another day.
Yeah, that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
Two
stories for another day. Hey,
Anyways,
there's always room here in the Attic podcast. So, to end it and conclude everything, any other advice you'd give to people who want to follow in your career path? Because you kind of showed a way to do it. Is this the only way? Is there different ways?
No, there's multiple ways, and it's funny you asked this question because about 30 seconds ago I was thinking about something I wanted to say earlier too. In the car business, do what's best for you as well.
What's in it for me, that thing?
Yeah, it is. It's literally do that as well too. Because earlier you asked me a certain question, and I was like, man, I should have added that into it. But in all honesty, is when you asked me about balancing and all that as well too, right? Like, remember when I said I want certain things when I'll go to a certain company if I have certain things, right, or a certain place, whatever. Do what's best for you, what works for you. Even if somebody doesn't like it, okay, they don't like it, great. It's what works for you. For me, the things that I require, the things that I want are what work for me. And that's another thing that I would say is taking that with you. If you want to get into it, be a sponge, learn honesty, integrity, and do what's best for you. Because at the end of the day, it's what you bring to the table. It's what you do for yourself as well too, is what you're going to get out of it. Remember, like I said earlier, the car business is going to give you what you put into it.
For sure. So, I mean, that's kind of what I should have learned when I was 19 and gullible. I didn't know about the what's in it for me mentality. It was,
I mean, listen, you live and you learn, and that's in every industry. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. You could be a doctor or a bus driver. You could be an attorney. You could be, I don't know, social worker. It doesn't matter. You live and you learn. You can't ponder on what happened and what would have happened. You just say, hey, listen, one of the things that I learned how to do in life is what? Keep moving forward. I know I say that a lot, but there's a reason for it. There's literally a reason for why I say that, because if I didn't,
it always goes back to keep moving forward.
Yeah, and you could use that in anything in life, in anything. Keep moving forward. People always ask me, well, how are you so happy after this or this or this or this or that? And it's like, listen, man, yeah, it happened. It is what it is. It could have been worse. It could have been worse.
It could always be worse.
It could have been worse.
Thank God we're alive. We woke up this morning.
And in all honesty, man, my career and everything that I have in life and everything that I will have in life and everything that life put me through or I chose to put myself through is literally one because of God. I got out of it. Simple as that. And my foundation is always going to be God.
And it always goes back to that because a lot of times, situations and people can put us through something or we ourselves.
And most of the time it's ourselves.
Most of the times it's ourselves stumbling and God's like, you know what, I got you. Come back.
Right? If that's a whole different topic.
Exactly.
That's a whole different topic. But I'll say this: if it wasn't for God, then oh my God, you know that saying.
Exactly. So to conclude, basically, you're saying the advice you have is keep moving forward. What's next, right? And
always willing to learn, always willing to succeed, always willing to be there, always willing to just do the next thing. I guess realistically.
Exactly. And then if someone wants to get hired. Would you recommend they follow the exact same steps that you followed, or everybody has their own way of doing things to get to where you're at?
I went different directions because of the opportunities that I had and the life experiences that I've had. That's why I did it. If I was to tell somebody to walk into a store right now, I would tell them this, like, listen, go into a store that you like the brand. Even if you don't like the brand, that's fine. But you got to be a sponge. You got to be willing to learn. You got to be willing to be there and present and want to succeed. And then Are you willing to put in that work, though, is the biggest question that you have to ask yourself. Are you willing to put in that work? And you got to understand the sacrifices that you're going to have to sometimes make. I've missed my daughter's birthday party before.
Yeah.
I've missed brothers' birthday parties. I've missed, not Christmases, because on Christmas we're day off, but I've missed Christmas parties, Christmas Eves. I've missed New Year parties. I've missed all of that because why? I'm at work. Prioritize your work.
Exactly. So
If you want to get somewhere with this business, you can. It's a very good business, and you can make some serious money without a degree, without you having to invest money, buy the cars, buy the products and services and all that stuff. Like, you don't have to. All you have to really do is listen. I'm willing to learn, and I'm going to be there. What do I have to do? And do it.
and just do it. Basically, it sounds like, take action, and you're gonna get somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And
like,
if you stumble,
Yeah.
what next? Do the next thing.
I mean, you don't need millions of dollars to be in this business. That's the cool part. You don't have to go buy the cars to be in this business. You don't have to have your own dealership, $1 million facility, or even rent your own spot. Let's say if you're leasing a property, right? If you're a dealer, right? You don't have to do any of that and still make very good money.
Make good money.
Yeah.
And then conclude anything else, any other advice or motivation that you would
Go to work.
go to work, get working, get out of bed, right?
Yeah, literally.
Exactly. All right. So with this, I'd like to thank the audience for listening, and hope you liked the conversation we had. And actually, one more thing to bring it back to Vitaliy. Is there anywhere people can find you if you want to call out the dealership where you work, or is that something you want to keep off the line?
It doesn't matter to me. Yeah, Anderson Ford in South Carolina.
So Anderson Ford in South Carolina. You want honest and integrity in sales and finance, you can call Vitaliy right here, and
Yeah,
he's got your back.
Feel free. I do not mind at all. If you need anything else as well too outside of that, exotic cars or luxury pre-owned or even a Toyota, whatever. I broker cars outside of that. So if you're trying to get a good deal, make sure you get the right financing as well too. Let me know. I'm here for you. Vitaliy_Kondrya is my Instagram. That's the best way to reach me out and go from there.
All right, everyone. So Vitaliy_Kondrya on Instagram, Anderson Ford in South Carolina. And you're going to be covered real well. And I'd like to thank everybody for watching the past podcast. It's been 1 hour and 31 minutes here. If you'd like to join a future podcast, you can text me at 864-820-1060, and we can talk on any topic. This is an all-inclusive podcast from faith, family, country. We can talk about politics or anything else under the sun, and I'd love to talk. I got ADHD, and my brain's all over the place, so I can't stick to one topic, and this is where I'm at right now. All right, thanks, everybody, for watching.
We should call this place the HDHD podcast.
ADHD podcast. Exactly. So everyone, like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate you taking the time. Thanks, Vitaliy, again for coming
Pleasure.
over.
No, thank you for having me, Igor.
Yeah, and you're welcome back anytime. Maybe we can do this again. And
Let's
God
do it.
bless. Take care.
Likewise.